Chris LeConte, Head of Business Development, Spycloud. Going to start with two quick questions. One, how many people believe that your information, your personal information, your employees' personal information, your students' personal information is available on the dark web or the underground today? You've been a part of a third-party hack, you've seen it, exactly. So most hands up. How many of you believe that you know what that information is, that your employees know what that information is, and not just that you were a part of it, but that what password they used, what IP address might have been captured? Any hands? So no. So that is the problem that Spycloud is out to solve. An organization has no idea what their vulnerability is when a third-party breach happens and how their vulnerability changes. We are out to solve that problem. So why is that information, why is that, all that thing I talked about before, important? Why is it important to know if your information's out there, what information is out there of your employees or from your domain? Because, I'm not going to touch the stand anymore. Oh God. All right, from an account takeover standpoint, the number one way your account gets compromised, right? You hear about my Netflix account was compromised. Someone hacked my email, they logged in. The number one way that happens is they have found your user, your email, and your password from another breach. It's not phishing. I know everybody wants to know phishing. They want to buy phishing software. That is number 4. Malware is number 2 and number 3. The number one way, the easiest way to compromise your account is right there. And that is supported by both the Verizon data breach report as well as Palo Alto Labs. So, how do they do it? Well, it's pretty simple. That's the scary part. Threat actors, also known as hackers, go out and they aggregate all these different third-party breaches, or they'll compromise a site and they'll get the emails and passwords. They then take that information and they put it into a password stuffing tool that literally everybody in this audience could run. One's called Century MBA. Check it out. Super easy to use. It can dynamically change IP addresses. It is highly effective. And so they'll use that and they'll point that at 10,000 different sites, 5,000 different sites. Your webmail server, your banner login, your PeopleSoft login, those types of things. And they will be able to infiltrate your account, and then they will either log into that account if you're a CEO, start sending some emails, CFO, start sending some wires, or if it's a Netflix account, they'll sell it online for $1, right? So these things are happening today. So higher education, is there a vulnerability? Sadly, absolutely. In April, we did research on 1,900 random university domains, and we found 10 million exposed credentials, right? Of the 1,900, 1,100 institutions had over 1,000 different records that were currently available. We did that same report just a couple weeks ago in October. That number went from 10 million to 22 million exposed credentials, right? The number of schools that had over 1,000 went from 1,100 to 1,500 institutions. This problem is not going away. And it's not just this market, although this market, I can tell you, is high growth compared to some others like financial services. So that's why we created Spycloud, to solve that specific problem. And I'm going to tell you exactly how we do that. So we do what the threat actors do. We go out and we aggregate every third-party breach that we can find on the dark web, in the deep web. We have so far recovered over 8,000 different breach databases. We identify roughly 10 breach databases a day, which is about 50 million new credentials a week. Our total database today is over 12 billion different points of information. That's IP addresses, that's PII, your address, your name, your location, where you lived for the last 5 years, the password that you used on LinkedIn, the password you used on MySpace, the password you used on Twitter. All of that information is in our database. We take that, or we actually get that data in 2 different ways. The main way we get it is human intelligence. We have a global network of research analysts that pose as hackers online. They have created alternate personas that they use, and they are directly interacting with hackers who compromise websites and compromise companies. They think that we are also bad actors. They think we are very well-known bad actors. They give us the databases after they hack them. Sometimes we will have a breach database within 24 hours of a site being compromised. We will have data weeks, if not months, ahead of time before it's available on Pastebin or dark web forums. That being said, we also have an automated scanner that goes out and grabs breach databases that are actively available on dark web forums like Tor or websites, those types of things. We take that data, we cleanse that data, we parse that data, because we're getting breach databases in their raw format. We aggregate it, we validate it, and then we are able to tell an institution, you had 20 people who were in this breach, this is the password they were using. You had 50 people in this breach, this is their PII that's available. That data is available instantly in our portal. You can go to spycloud.com right now, you can put in your email address, and that information is available, so there is no uptime. The data is also available via API. Today, Cisco uses us to protect their employees. They don't log into our portal, even though it looks nice, they use our API. Booking.com uses this to protect their customers. And if anybody here has a Booking.com account, you log into Booking.com, they're actually checking your personal email against our site to make sure that email and password you use to log into Booking isn't already compromised. We have Active Directory integration within institutions, so you do not have to have a full-time resource that looks everything Spycloud gets. It'll actually automated check if that is an active employee student. If it is, it'll force a password change if there was a password match. And also from a NIST guidelines, we can tell you what the most common passwords are because we have 4.5 billion of the passwords that are out there, and those are the new NIST guidelines. So we can also help you set strong passwords, which are not passwords with uppercase, lowercase, those types of things. The number one recommendation from NIST on setting password guidelines isn't reset it every 90 days. It isn't uppercase, lowercase. It's don't use a commonly used password. Again, we can tell you what the most 1,000, 200,000, millionth common password is. This is how we stop them. We get the same data that they do. We give you access to our information, and even before it gets to their ability to log in your system and you've got to deal with an account takeover, we've already prevented it because they were never able to log in. I'm going to go super quick now. Why we're different? Because we're awesome. No, it's because of human intelligence and the way we get our data. 80% of the data we get is through human intelligence. That's direct threat actor interactions. The team is great. The two founders, CEO and president, Dave and Ted, they are industry executives from a cybersecurity standpoint. They've been a part of companies. Ted ran threat intelligence for HP. Dave was one of the originators of the zero-day movement, written books on hacking, sold an antivirus company to Avast. Myself started in higher education, worked at a company where we went from one client to 1,600 schools in 10 years, went public. And then the board. I know I got to stop, but I'm going to take advantage of it because of the whole thing, but I'll just stop with the board real quick. So Ted and Ross are on the board. Two industry execs are on the board. You see John Stewart. John Stewart met us when we won the NATO Defense Cyber Innovation Award this year. We were the only U.S. company to win that award from NATO. And John Stewart was there. He was so impressed with the company, he joined our board just a month ago. And John is the chief security and trust officer at Cisco. Alan Kessler built Tipping Point, which was sold for a lot of money to HP and 3Com. And then Kip is a member of one of our VCs, which is Silverton Partners. We're based out of Austin. Quick high-level stats, because you were going to ask me anyway, so I'm being proactive on Q&A, is we have 70 clients today. We were founded last August. We came out of stealth in June. We raised $2.5 million when we came out of stealth. So in the 6 months since then, we've signed up 70 clients. That includes Cisco, that includes Booking.com, that includes Avast, which is the largest antivirus company in the world. That includes the largest payroll processor in the world, although I can't say their name, but I can say they're the largest, so you could Google it. And one of the top 4 consulting firms in the country. Pause. Applause.